Good morning, dear students. Welcome back to our online class. So, today we are going to continue with our English literature, the last chapter, B. Wordsworth. So, in the previous video, we have seen that how the stranger gets more and more closer to the boy, the narrator or the speaker here, and the boy also tries to find a good friend inside the narrator. Okay, so we have seen that again. The boy asks him that still you are running here and there, uh, trying to sell your poetry. The boy say the B. Wordsworth says no. And we also see that boy relishes the very juicy taste of the mangoes given by the stranger, and he reaches home late, and when he reached there his mother badly beats him. He keeps on crying, and finally, the B. Wordsworth tries to console him and tries to take him outside into a different place where they can lie down on the grass, and they will be counting the stars there. And in order to divert the boy's attention from his sadness, the stranger makes it successful to bring back the smile on the boy's face. Okay, so today we'll be continuing from line page number 120 of your textbook. So I request all of you to take your textbook when you watch this video for your better understanding. Okay, so we will be continuing that when they were actually what they were doing, the boy and the man both were lying on the grass and they were counting the stars. Okay, so when I said I was better, he began telling me the names of the stars, and I particularly remembered the constellation of the Orion, the hunter, though I don't really know why. I can spot Orion even today, but I have forgotten the rest. So the boy says that he tries to recollect the names of the stars which he has read or learnt years back or somewhere, and he just forgets all the other names except one particular name, and that is the name of the Orion. And again here the speaker says that he don't have any particular reason to actually point out that why he is remembering that particular name of the Orion, the star, but it just came into his mind, and he was saying, then a light was flashed in our faces, and we saw a policeman. We got up from the grass. So suddenly, as they were counting the stars and they were talking about that, suddenly a flashlight, came on their face, and they got, they just came into their presence of mind where they are, and suddenly they saw that it is a policeman who is actually flashing the light on their face. And when they saw the policeman, suddenly they both stood up on the grass. The policeman said, what are you doing here? So the policeman, it's their duty. They might have come from for the purpose of the night patrolling. So they might have he asked the stranger and the speaker, that is a boy, what are you doing here? B. Wordsworth said, I have been asking myself the same question for 40 years. Now, B. Wordsworth himself is a writer, he is a poet, and he speaks in a philosophical tone. Okay, he says that, really, you are asking me what I am doing here? The same question, I am asking to myself from last 40 years, and still I have not received any answer. I was not able to even realize that what could be the answer of that. Okay, so we became friends, B. Wordsworth and I. He told me, you must never tell anybody about me and about the mango tree and the coconut tree and the palm tree. You must keep that as a secret. If you tell anybody, I will know, because I am a poet. So B. Wordsworth and the speaker, that is the boy, became very good friends by this time. And at this time, B. Wordsworth, the stranger, told him that you must not tell this to anybody. Now tell what? Actually telling about whether he's a poet, or whether they are in a good bond of friendship, or whether that this is a one place, Alberto Street, and his house, which is very far away from the Mughal Street. Okay, so he said that what you know about me as a person, what you know about my house, my trees, my palm tree, the very sweet and relishing mangoes which are grown on that mango tree, or the plum tree, or even this place, you please don't share or tell with anyone. Just keep it as a secret, even our friendship, our bonding also. So I will know because, and the stranger also says to the boy, see, if you say something to anybody, I will come to know, right? Like the mothers used to tell the children and try to pick out what's going on in their mind. Similarly, the stranger also, warns the boy very sweetly, not angrily, but obviously, and says that you should not tell this. If you tell this, then definitely I will be coming to know, because I'm a poet. I can read your mind. I gave him my word and I kept it. The speaker, the boy, did not go for any argument. He just simply listened to him, and he said that, okay, I promise I will not share this secret to anyone and I'll keep it to myself. I liked his little room. It had no more furniture than George's front room, but it looked cleaner and healthier. But it all looked lonely. So finally, he entered to the room of the B.Wordsworth there, and he saw that, and there is no furniture inside the room, and everything seems to be, very clean and healthy, very tidy room. And but it lacks something. There was some kind of loneliness, there was some kind of lacking inside that room. And one day I asked him, so the narrator continues his story, and he says that, one day I asked him, Mr. Wordsworth, why you just keep all this bush in your yard, and I just make the place damp? So he just asked the Mr. Wordsworth one day when he approached to his house as usually. He said that, why are you keeping all this bush inside your yard? Now, bush here actually refers to all those plants which also grow as weeds. Okay, so that means you can see that if you enter into the B. Wordsworth house in the yard, you can see there is full of greenery. Okay, and there are some good trees, there are some plants which are which are worthful, which are blooming, flowering plants, non-flowering plants, and in between there are also different types of weeds grown. So okay, and it's all bushy there. So that is why the boy asked that, why have you grown all these bushes here inside your yard? Okay, and doesn't you make that place look like a damp means what? Though that damp means those areas which are actually abandoned by the people, where it is good for nothing, and mostly it seems to be like completely with the marshy weeds, plants, water accumulated. Okay, which can also result in accumulation of so many insects, and that can be sometimes dangerous too. Okay, so that is why he says that, why are you growing all these bushes inside the yard? Okay, doesn't it make the place damp? Okay, so this is what actually the boy is asking to the B. Wordsworth. So let's see what B. Wordsworth replies. He said, listen, and I will tell you a story. So we know he's a poet, he's a writer, obviously he is a storyteller. So he says another story, and you know that for children, more than anything else, they love the story. So he just started narrating a different story to explain his point. Once upon a time, a boy and a girl met each other and they fell in love. So now its story is like the story, different story, which actually gives the explanation to this question asked by the narrator. So he says that there was a long time back, there was a boy and a girl, and they both fell in love with each other. They loved each other so much, and after some years, they got married. Okay, so a very quite normal scenario. They were both poets. So the boy was also a poet and the girl was also a poet. Okay. So they loved words. When both are the writers, obviously most of their feelings, their emotions, their thoughts and expressions, everything will be in the poetical form. Everything will be in the words. Okay. They express more through the words. She loved grass and flowers and trees. And she, though she is a poet, she loved words, but more than that, she loved grasses, plants, and trees everywhere. They lived happily in a single room, and then one day, the girl poet said to the boy poet, we are going to have another poet in the family, the little poet. Okay, so their family ran very smoothly. They were living very happily, and one day the girl poet said to the boy poet that we are going to have another poet in our family. We are going to have another poet in the family, but this poet was never born because the girl died. Now, that poet, the new member of the family, was actually did not come on the earth itself, and before that, the girl poet died, and the young poet died with her inside her. Okay, and that young poet, when it said that the girl poet died, obviously it refers to the girl died, and within her, that blooming poet, okay, that poet which was supposed, the budding poet, also died. The young poet also died inside her, and the girl's husband was very sad. Obviously he will be sad, and he said he would never touch a thing in the girl's garden, and he declared, he made a promise that he will be never touching a single plant or a single tree, anything, or even a single twig or leaf from that particular garden. Okay, why? Because he wanted to keep it maybe like the memory for his beloved, okay, wife, or because she loved plants and trees. Okay, so he thought that from now onwards I'm not going to touch a single, not I, so the boy poet is not going to touch a single thing from that. Okay, he decided. And so the garden remained and grew high and wild. And he says that, and so that garden actually grew so high, so wild. This mango tree, the palm tree, and the coconut trees were all grown bigger now, and it remained like that because the boy poet has not done anything. I looked at B. Wordsworth, and as he told me this lovely story, he seemed to grow older. I understood his story. Now, as the B. Wordsworth started narrating the story, he seems to be expressing a lot of happiness, joy, because he was telling the story of the two young people, young couple, young poets. Okay, and as he was proceeding towards the story, he felt that the B. Wordsworth has grown older and older. Older and older here actually refers not only in his physical appearance, it also older and older is in his thoughts also. Okay, that means the thoughts which he has shared, or the story which he had shared, was the story long time back, and the story was of the young minds and the young people. And now the story, in course of time, as it proceeded, its thoughts have been grown old, and the person, the narrator, also grown old. And the boy was actually trying to analyze these two aspects, and he was trying to compare also. That's why he said, and he did not, he was so smart and intelligent that he did not need any further explanation. He understood the story. We went for the long walks together. What now? What is the story, and about whom is the story? You can make a guess. Okay, so now let us continue with the story. We went for long walks together, and they both walked for a long time. We went to the botanical gardens and the rock gardens. We climbed Chancellor Hill in the late afternoon and watched the darkness fall on the port of Spain, and watched the lights go on in the city and on the ships in the harbor. So they have spent a lot of time walking here and there, watching different places. He did everything as though he were doing it for the first time in life. There are certain things, when we do everything, we get bored, we get annoyed, okay, and we felt like it's not working out, right? But if you do everything in a different manner, and everything you enjoy and do, then you won't feel like that boring and annoying. So he did everything as if first time he is doing that in his life. Means everything, whatever he did, walking in the garden, observing the botanical garden, or climbing on the rocks, everything he felt like he's doing for the first time in his life. And that made him always remain fresh, and always remain that it's a new start in his life. So he did everything as though he were doing some church rite. Some church rite means some rituals that are being done inside the church, and every time he feels like he is doing something new. He would say to me, now how about having some ice cream? Oh, after a long walk, definitely ice cream will be worthful, right? So to have an ice cream and enjoy is to make you relax and comfortable. So he said that now we have done a long walk, so why don't you have some ice cream? And when I said yes, and of course, the boy and the children, of course, they love ice cream. And he would grow very serious and say, now, which cafe shall we patronize? So, in order to have an ice cream, they have to go to some place. And so, he's taking the child's choice that where they have to go, and as though it were a very important thing, he would think for some time about it and finally say, I think I'll go and negotiate the purchase with the shop. He said that I'll be going and negotiating the purchase. Negotiating means go and will start bargaining. Okay, so I'll they just look at all the shops, and they will be finally selecting one particular shop, and he says that I'll go to that shop and let me go and bargain. If I get anything less, it will be beneficial to my pocket. Okay, so the world became a most exciting place, and the boy was actually, he never experienced such things in his life so far, and he got such a good friend that he was not only spending the time only to have ice cream or mango with him, but he has learned so many things. He spends so many time with him, and he is actually learning to observe the people, learning to observe the place, and the coming to know about the different stories. And it's all a new and different experience for the boy, for the child. Okay, and he says that one day when I was in his yard, he said to me, I have a great secret which I am going now to tell you. Now he said that, now this poet, the stranger, B. Wordsworth, is actually a big box of mystery, isn't it? So every time the boy talks to him, meets him, he will be coming across some or other new discoveries about either this man or the places related to him or the things related to him. Okay, so that is why this time he says that when he met the boy after another day, he said that, this is just between you and me, and I am going to today tell you a different story. Okay, and that is actually a great secret of mine. And when you go become so closer and you feel like the person is trustworthy, then you feel like sharing your thoughts to that person. So similarly, the friendship between the story is actually, when we discuss about the theme, we will be discussing that it's not only the story is about the strong friendship between elderly person and the boy, and it is also the story of the principle or the or the philosophy of escapism. Okay, so I'll explain to you in later, so let us continue here. And he says that today I'm going to tell you about a great secret of mine. I said, it really secret? So the boy is so astonished. He said, oh, you are going to talk to me about the secret? And do you think it's really a secret? Now, when it is revealed to someone, does that matter remains as a secret? No. Okay. So at the moment, yes. So the boy says that at the moment, yeah, it's a secret. I looked at him and he looked at me. So the boy stared at the stranger, his friend, and that is B. Wordsworth, and B. Wordsworth also stared at the boy. And what's the meaning of this staring at each other? Actually, both are trying to read each other's mind. Okay, he said, this is just between you and me. Remember, I'm a writing poet. So he says that this is just between you and me. Okay, not again share with anyone. That is a secret, so you are not expected to share with anyone. And I'm writing a poem. I'm writing a poem. So he says that what is the secret? Secret is that I am writing a poem. Oh, I was disappointed. The boy was having a lot of, strange thoughts and ideas in his mind. Like, what is the secret? What is that? Every time he meets B. Wordsworth, he gets something excited, things to learn and listen from him. And so this time also, his excitement was up to the air, that he thinks that he is definitely going to share something big secret. His secret means, of course, you expect something big, something adventurous, or something that no one have thought ever before in that manner. But when the B. Wordsworth said that I'm writing a poem, what's the big deal in that? Isn't it? He is a poet. Of course, he is a poet and he writes a poem. So there is no big deal in that, saying that it's a secret and I'm writing a poem. This answer actually, disappointed the boy. And he gave a very, disappointing expression. Oh, it's a poem? Really? He said, but this is a different sort of poem. The B. Wordsworth said that, of course, it's a poem, but it's not like all the usual poems. This is a different sort of poem. This is the greatest poem in the world. I said it's the greatest secret, right? That means this poem is also a greatest poem. I whistled. Whistling, making whistling sound. He said, I have been working on it for more than 5 years now. Oh, that's why he's saying that it's a great poem, right? Because from last 5 years, he is jotting down the lines and making it a huge or a big or enormous poem. And he says, I will finish it in about 22 years from now. That is, if I keep on writing at present rate. Present rate, it means in the present pace or in the present speed. And if in this speed, if I continue writing that poem, so definitely it will take 22, the coming next 22 years. So how many years, according to his calculation, the whole poem will be completed? 22 plus 5, 27 years. Okay, so that means by the next 22 years it will take to complete this poem. You does write a lot then the boy said, oh my god, you are, so what is that you are writing? So it would be something very very great thing, right? Or something that no one can read, even people. If you take 22 years to complete that poem, obviously how long the people would take to read that poem or to understand that poem, right? So you are writing a lot of things in that. I'm afraid. He said, not anymore. I just write one line in a month. He said that it's not like I have written thousands and thousands of lines in all these 5 years. I write only one line in a month. That means from last 5 years, how many lines he could have written. Calculate your maths, okay? So, but I'm sure it is a good line. So, the B. Wordsworth assures himself that I write only one line in a month. So, 12 into, so in 1 year, how many lines he might have written? 12 lines, okay? So, in 5 years, then how many lines he might have reached? 12 into 5, 60 lines, okay? So, he says that from last 5 years, I have written a poem of 60 lines. And, I'm sure that every line is a very very good line, very attractive line, or like very meaningful line. Okay, so I asked, what was the last month's good line? Oh, I'm not asking you what are the good lines of the last 4 years. I just ask you, what was the last line that you have written of the last month, okay, a month before. Then B. Wordsworth replies, he looks up the sky and he says, the past is deep. That was the line that he has written in the previous month. That is, the past is deep. Okay. I said, wow, it's a very beautiful line you have written about the past, and the past is deep. It's a very small phrase, but it has a very big meaning, and so many things said but not said. Okay, the past is deep. Of course, if you dig the past of someone or of yourself, it is very deep. You might take years and years in explaining every minute things that has happened in the past. So that's why it says that it is deep. So people will take a lot of time. If I'm taking this much time to write, he said it will take a lot of time for them to read and a bigger time to understand. So I hope that you understood this much part of the story. We'll continue and try to finish by tomorrow. So keep reading. Have a wonderful time. Take care of yourselves.